Arnold, a panicked man fleeing with a car from pursuing police cars after a security guard desperately radioed for backup. He had removed his license plates to evade detection and was determined to reach home to his sick daughter, Mira. Spotting an oncoming truck, he devised a plan to use its headlights to blind the police momentarily and execute a quick escape. The plan worked initially, but in his shaken state, Arnold crashed into bushes beside the road, losing consciousness instantly. The following day, Arnold reluctantly returned to the office where chaos reigned as they stripped away everything non-confidential. His desk, once a sanctuary of productivity, now lay bare, echoing the impending emptiness in his heart. The poignant conversation with his daughter lingered heavily on his mind. Will I lose Mira, my only daughter? The question reverberated through his thoughts, a knot tightening in his chest. No, he couldn't accept such a grim fate. He had to fight. But how? How could he possibly battle the relentless government machine? The specter of imprisonment loomed ominously over any resistance. As security officials tightened their grip on the building, Arnold's resolve wavered, then crystallized into a daring notion. What if he defied the odds? What if he forged ahead with his research right under their noses? What if I built my own lab, gathered vital documents, maybe even equipment to continue in secrecy? The clandestine plan took shape in his mind, urgency propelling him forward. Packing the remnants of his professional life, Arnold returned home, a faint flicker of determination guiding his steps. Tomorrow, he would return, not as an employee, but as a covert architect of his own destiny. It was 10 p.m. The darkness draped over Arnold like a shroud as he wrestled with his restless thoughts. He had meticulously devised a plan to infiltrate the heavily guarded building undetected. Quietly slipping into Mira's room, he found her peacefully asleep. Gently kissing her forehead, he silently closed the door behind him and made his way to the car. 10 minutes away from the target, Arnold pulled over and cut the engine. He pulled a hoodie over his head and donned a mask to conceal his features. Moving with calculated steps, he approached the building. During the day, he had noted the extensive security detail on every floor, rendering the main entrance impassable. But he remembered a ladder at the rear of the building leading to a seldom-used passage. This route, he hoped, would lead him to a stairway ascending to the rooftop parapet. Upon reaching the parapet, Arnold will secure a rope to one of the sturdy masts. He will then lower himself, floor by floor, towards the offices where vital documents and equipment awaited him. He had to do this as quietly as possible. As he neared the building, a security guard suddenly shone a bright flashlight in his direction. Arnold quickly ducked behind a nearby trash can, heart pounding in his chest. Waiting anxiously, he peeked out cautiously once the guard's attention shifted elsewhere. With a silent sigh of relief, he hurried to the back of the building. Finding the ladder, he ascended to a back door leading into a dark passage. The air was stale, and rats scurried around, triggering his phobia. Yet, thoughts of saving Mira pushed him forward like a guiding light. He pressed on, reaching the stairs he needed to climb. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from above, and a flashlight swept downward from the parapet. Fear clenched Arnold's chest as he quickly hid beneath the stairs, praying he wouldn't be discovered. The guard passed by, his flashlight scanning the area suspiciously. Arnold held his breath until the guard's walkie-talkie crackled to life, diverting his attention elsewhere. It was Arnold's chance. Quietly emerging from his hiding place, Arnold cautiously proceeded towards the parapet. Luck seemed to be on his side tonight. There he stood atop the parapet, the wind howling around him, making his heart race even faster. Looking down, he saw the ground far below, but he couldn't waste time. The security guard could return at any moment. Hastily securing the rope to a sturdy mast, he double-checked its hold. Taking a deep breath, he positioned himself at the edge of the parapet and began his descent. His goal was clear: reach floors 6 and 7. The offices and lab were on the outer side of the building, accessible through the windows. He needed his computer, research documents, and EEG electrodes for Mira. Other items could be replaced later. Carefully, he lowered himself to the 6th floor. With a gentle nudge, the window creaked open, granting him entry into the lab. Inside, he swiftly located the electrodes and gathered important diagrams and experimental results. Moving quickly but quietly, he retraced his steps back to the window and closed it softly behind him. Arnold hurried back up to the 7th floor, but the window in front of him was firmly locked from inside. Frustration gnawed at him, but he had no time to waste. Swiftly, he swung sideways on the rope, aiming for another window that might lead to the office. The seconds ticked by anxiously because the security guard could return at any moment. Unbeknownst to Arnold, the rope was gradually being cut by the friction against the parapet's edge as he swung. He reached the side window just in time. Relieved to find it open, slipping inside the office, he began his search for his computer and important documents which he found on one of the desks. Suddenly, a footstep echoed outside the office. Arnold darted under a nearby shelf, heart pounding in his chest. A security guard entered, sweeping the area with a flashlight. Arnold held his breath as the guard approached his hiding spot. Adrenaline surged through him. He had what he needed, but escape was still uncertain. When the guard was inches away, Arnold acted swiftly. He grabbed the guard's legs, causing him to stumble and fall. With a decisive blow to the head, Arnold knocked the guard unconscious. Now, he needed to escape. Racing back to the locked window where he had calculated the rope would hang, Arnold opened it and clung to the rope. However, the guard had returned to the parapet and spotted the rope, tracing it to where Arnold hung. Realizing he couldn't go up, Arnold made a split-second decision to descend. As he hurried down the rope, the guard shouted, "Stop!" The added strain caused the rope to snap, sending Arnold plummeting downward. Miraculously, he landed in a dumpster below, heart racing, adrenaline surging. Ignoring the pain from bruises and a possible sprained ankle, he sprang to his feet and fled into the night, knowing he had narrowly escaped capture. The security guard quickly radioed for backup, and soon Arnold heard sirens blaring behind him. Panicked, he dashed towards his parked car, jumped in, and started the engine with shaking hands. As he sped away, fear gripped him when he saw 2 police cars hot on his tail. "I have to get home to Mira," he repeated to himself desperately. To avoid being traced, he had removed his license plates. Now, he needed a plan to shake off the pursuing vehicles. Ahead, Arnold spotted a large truck approaching from the opposite direction, its bright headlights piercing the night. An idea formed in his mind. He edged closer to the truck, planning to execute a quick U-turn right after passing it. By following closely on the other side of the truck, he hoped to evade the police cars trailing him. Executing his plan, Arnold slipped behind the truck just as the police cars were momentarily blinded by its headlights. Relief washed over him momentarily, but the tension was far from over. Still shaken, Arnold failed to notice as he veered off the road, crashing headlong into dense bushes. The impact was sudden and brutal, knocking him unconscious.